Somehow, prison life returned. After over 6 years of complete inactivity, zero updates whatsoever, the game has come roaring back. The resurgence has been incredible to witness as someone who has really enjoyed playing prison life. In fact, its resurgence is probably the main reason why Jailbreak is going back to doing updates rather frequently. But why is prison life so successful right now? And what are the lessons that Jailbreak truly needs to learn from it? I'm going to try to answer these questions today in this video. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments, and without any further yapping, let's go ahead and get started. The first reason why prison life has made such a big comeback is a pretty simple one. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Since prison life had not updated for years on end, people just stopped playing it for years on end. For many people, it's their first time playing prison life this decade. It's honestly hard for unks like me to recognize just how long ago 2016 was, which was around the time prison life was at its most popular. So prison life getting a few small updates recently has made a lot of people curious to revisit it and explore the game after they haven't played it for quite some time. I think a lot of people didn't realize just how popular prison life truly was back in the day, and the incredible player count we're seeing right now is just showing how many people that played it back in the day want to check it out and see what changed. Therefore, I think this popularity could end up being rather short term if prison life doesn't end up updating for much more. Eventually, these people that revisit it will end up leaving it again until it gets another update. But who knows, maybe it will have a new form of longevity because of a lot of substantial updates that have been made to it, like removing hackers, for instance. To compare this game with Jailbreak, Jailbreak has been very established for the past 8 years, where prison life often has gone more forgotten. Even though Jailbreak has slowed down on its updates, it still gets them pretty frequently in comparison to prison life. Jailbreak gets updates about 2 or 3 months, so people always know what to expect, and that's why you're not really going to see a big surge in Jailbreak player count unless we see a truly crazy update. Jailbreak is always present and people know what it's about, but with prison life, people haven't really seen it for quite some time, so they're curious to check it out and see what's changed. The second reason why prison life's player count is destroying Jailbreak right now is because prison life is much simpler and easier to get into than Jailbreak. Jailbreak's entire appeal was that it took the core idea of prison life and Redwood Prison and it expanded it to the area outside of the prison and introduced so many complexities. That's what I absolutely love about it, but it does come with a big drawback in that it is hard to introduce new players to it. It's very hard for me to recommend Jailbreak to my friends that I meet in real life who play Roblox because it is a very difficult game for people to get into. I myself had trouble figuring it out when I first started. The learning curve is what makes it a lot of fun for many people, myself included, and it made it satisfying when I finally got control of the game and could play consistently well. But I think that for most people who casually play Roblox, it often ends up being more frustrating and it leads to people quitting. However, prison life is much simpler. You spawn in, you try to escape the prison, that's about it. If you've never played the game before and you join for the first time, you easily understand what you need to do. Jailbreak will try to release more updates to increase its player count and compete with prison life, but ultimately I don't think it will help it too much because that will still contradict the main reason why people are jumping to prison life. It is just way simpler and way easier to get into. If I'm playing a prison game with my friends who have never played Jailbreak or prison life, I'm more likely to play prison life with them since it's much easier to learn. Now my point here is not that Jailbreak needs to dumb itself down, and this is something I'm going to expand upon later. I'm just giving another reason as to why prison life is seeing such a big jump in players. However, what is a problem for Jailbreak that prison life simply doesn't have is the intense lag. In my opinion, Jailbreak is probably one of the most unfriendly, laggy games there is on Roblox. Back in the day when I had a crappy Fire tablet, I could still play most Roblox games pretty well, but Jailbreak was impossible to play. It was just way too slow. Same with my MacBook that I used to make videos on for a couple of years. It ran most Roblox games pretty well, but Jailbreak was always rather intense and I would have to lower it to the lowest graphics setting. Prison life, again, simply does not have this issue whatsoever. There's way less in the game, so it's much less intensive. I think there's a fair case to be made that Jailbreak's lagginess is its biggest hurdle and the biggest issue the game has had throughout its history. It's obviously easy to point out problems and harder to come up with solutions, and I know the developers have been working really hard to try to make it easier and optimized for people to play, and I hope they keep that up. But there are certainly things in Jailbreak that do not need to be as laggy as they are. There's no reason for NPCs to be so laggy in Jailbreak when they simply aren't for similar games. In areas like this is where Jailbreak could definitely try to improve, and I think it would be rewarded significantly with more players. So, what can Jailbreak learn from this? Many people, myself included, are looking at this and comparing this to Jailbreak versus Mad City, but there is a key distinction between the two. Mad City's competition was much different because Mad City was going further than Jailbreak. It was adding elements that Jailbreak didn't have, and it forced Jailbreak to innovate. For instance, Mad City added planes, vehicle spawning, and dogs, which were all features that the devs either initially said they were not going to add or were not planning on adding. However, Mad City showed that there was an appetite for those kinds of features in an online prison game, and if Jailbreak was not going to add it, then players would just go to a game that did have those elements. So with the case of Mad City, it was much easier for Jailbreak to compete with that game because all Jailbreak needed to do was add similar features to what Mad City was implementing. This is not the same case as with Prison Life. It is much more difficult to compete with Prison Life in this scenario. Prison Life's resurgence is the complete opposite reason of Mad City. People are going back to it primarily because of the simplicity and because it's very easy to get into. Some might say the conclusion would be to make Jailbreak simpler, remove a lot of features, but I would say this is the incorrect conclusion, and I really hope that this is not the path the devs are planning to go down. Jailbreak doesn't need to make itself simpler. In my opinion, it just needs to be more beginner friendly. I think Jailbreak should make a comprehensive but easy to follow tutorial. It would go a long way in helping explain the game to new players who just don't understand what is happening. There could be an initial tutorial like in Beeswarm Simulator, where the first time you join the game, you get a little slideshow on what you do, and then there's a little button on the side for if you ever want to view this tutorial again in case you forget something. Or there could be a guided tutorial where it makes you move around the map. Or if you're doing robberies for the first time, you'll have an optional tutorial pop up that will instruct you on how to do the robbery if you want to use it. Another thing that Jailbreak could do to make itself more friendly to beginners would be to make ranked servers. Many people, myself included, have proposed Jailbreak matchmaking of some sort or some way to put lower level players with each other and higher level players with each other, but it's a very complex thing to think about and certainly to implement. So my solution would be to make ranked and unranked Jailbreak servers. With ranked Jailbreak servers, you would be put into servers with people of similar net worths. They've earned the same amount of money as you throughout their playtime. They've played for a similar amount of time in the game. They own similar vehicles, criteria of that sort. Jailbreak is often frustrating to beginner players because they're put into servers with pros who just completely destroy them. And it's hard for noobs with Camaros to compete with pros with Tesla Roadsters, Volt bikes, army helis, vehicles of that sort. I think letting noobs fight against other noobs in poorer servers would help solve this problem. Now, the reason I'm suggesting ranked and unranked servers is because I would still want a way for people to play with people of other skill levels if they want to. Plus, it would solve the issue of players not being able to join their friends if they're forced to play with people of similar net worths. So basically, unranked servers would be like the servers we have now. Like I said, it's a complex thing to discuss, think about, and implement, but I do think it would be worth it, and it would make the game much more fun for many people starting out. And ultimately, I think Jailbreak should implement features like this to make it more beginner friendly instead of removing content, because the reason people like me play Jailbreak is precisely because it has more content. If Jailbreak just removes stuff for the sake of simplicity, if it encroaches on my enjoyment of the game, I'm just gonna stop playing. And I'm sure the case will be the same for many people. I really hope Jailbreak does not hurt itself in the long run by making itself simpler. I don't think it will. I know the devs are smarter than that, but I do think it is still worth raising this concern. Ultimately, if Prison Life does not get much more substantial updates, I do think it could end up dying out as people realize there just isn't much to do. Like I said in the first section of the video, most people that have returned to the game are just there to check it out and see what has changed, but they're not going to stick around for very long. That's why in the long run, Jailbreak will probably win this battle unless something crazy happens. So I do think it is imperative that Jailbreak does not dumb itself down. But that's going to wrap up my discussion of Prison Life's resurgence and what Jailbreak should do. What do you think? What's your opinion on this topic? Do you disagree or agree with my conclusions? And what do you think Jailbreak should do? Let me know all of your opinions in the comments. I'd love to read them. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to use my code at any Jailbreak ATM to get my tires. The code is YouTube NoobFreak. Join my Discord linked in the description, as well as my Roblox group. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Bye bye.